So I had a conversation with one of my students, and he was telling me that he was frustrated because his English didn't seem to be improving. He'd been studying English for so long, studying books, attending classes, even having private tutors, but it seemed like every time he went to speak to someone in English, he would get stuck and he didn't know what to do. And as I was listening to this student, I realized that I experienced the same thing when I was studying Korean. You feel like you kind of reach this ceiling, right? There's no way to go above the ceiling and you don't know what to do. You just feel stuck. Now, I'm sure you felt that way before. You've studied English for years probably, and you still feel like you're not an advanced English speaker. Well, that's why I created today's lesson, because I'm going to tell you how to get unstuck and to actually take your English to the next level. I'm Teacher Tiffani. Let's jump right in. All right, so the first reason you feel stuck is you don't know what to study. Now, this is a common issue that many students come across or face when they're studying English. So there are times when you don't know what vocabulary word or what expression or what idiom to study, or even what methods you should be using to study. That's an issue and it can make you feel stuck. So one of the main issues connected to this is you have too many options. I mean, there are tons of amazing English teachers on YouTube. Not just me, but many other English teachers. Then there are thousands of books that you can choose from, and there are so many options, and you kind of get a little bit confused. Well, there are some solutions. Here are two solutions. First, study in groups. What you want to do is think of topics that you are actually interested in and speak about regularly. Then find words, expressions, idioms, and discussion questions about those topics. Now, here's the reason why I love this solution so much. You see, a lot of times when you're studying English, you're trying to study everything. I mean everything. You want to know every single word, every single expression. But the truth of the matter is, that's not how it works. Even in your own language, there are words that you don't know. However, you can speak confidently about the topics you are interested in. So all you have to do is think about those topics and then change them over into English and then study in groups. What you're going to do is, for example, if your favorite thing to talk about is, let's say, food, because I love food. Well, then, okay, think about when you're cooking the food. Think about when you are actually eating the food. What are the emotions? What are the thoughts going through your head? Now try to translate those thoughts, emotions, and ideas into English. So then the next time you go to speak about cooking or food, you will have a group of English words and expressions and ideas that you can properly express in English, and you have much more confidence. So again, focus on what you're interested in and study in groups. Now, another solution to this issue is what you can do is create goal-specific study plans. Think about what you want to accomplish. Then find study goals or study plans or guides that will help you reach those goals. This solution will help you know exactly what to study and for how long. So let me explain exactly how to do this. Now, you will notice my voice is a little bit different today. I think I'm getting a little bit congested all of a sudden. So I'm okay, but I think you notice my voice sounds just a tad bit different. All right, so create goal-specific study plans. For example, let's say for this month, you want to improve your pronunciation. Okay, well then write that down. What are you going to do in order to accomplish this goal? This is going to help you know what to study for what period of time. I tell you the truth. I am not lying. When you put a goal and you work towards that goal, your brain goes into overdrive to help you accomplish that goal. So again, you don't have to worry about what to study because you have one goal in mind and you're working towards that goal. All right. Now, the second reason why you feel stuck in English is right here. You don't have time to study. Or in other words, it's hard to balance work, family, and life. Listen, I get it. When I was studying Korean, I was working full time and studying and trying to manage my friendships and my family life. It was difficult. So I understand it's a little bit hard to know how to balance all of these things and actually find time to study in English. But I have some solutions for you. So here's the first solution. First, you want to pick one set time to study each day. That's right, one specific time. It can be in the morning, it can be in the evening. Now, you can decide the exact amount of time, but try to select a specific time that you will study every single day. All right? This may be 5 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes at night. That's right. I did say 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You see, you need to create a habit, and you don't have to stress yourself about, I need to study for an hour or 2 hours every single day. You're busy. You don't have time to study. But think about it. 5 minutes? You can kind of find 5 minutes in your day, right? Or maybe even 10 minutes. So start off with a small amount of time, but make sure you set aside that time every day and you stick to your plan. Now, the other solution to help you, when you feel like you don't have enough time, change up the style. If you change things up, you won't be as bored. Instead, you will look forward to studying English. In other words, you will make time for something you enjoy. Here's the fact. If you study vocabulary every single day, good, not bad at all. But you're going to start feeling a little bit bored if you do the same thing every single day. So you have to change it up. Maybe you can say, hey, Mondays are vocabulary days. Tuesdays are YouTube video days where you go and you watch an entertaining video and just enjoy it. Maybe Wednesdays are new expression days. So change it up and I guarantee you won't feel as bored, and suddenly you will look forward to the time when you have to study English. Okay? Now, the next reason why you feel so stuck in your English and you feel like you're not improving is because you don't have a way to practice. Or in other words, you don't have anyone to practice with. I hear this all the time. This is why I wanted to show you these solutions. All right. So here's the deal. You need to join an online group. The internet is amazing. It's connected all of us, even though we live on different sides of the world. So there are tons of online groups where you can practice your English, but remember to look for groups related to your interests. Remember earlier we talked about if you like cooking or if you like food, find a group related to that interest. All right. Join them and start participating. I know you may feel nervous, but being online, maybe you'll get a little bit more confidence because they can't see you. So slowly you'll start to practice even more. And then you'll see, wait a minute, this is not as hard as I thought it was. As you learn a new expression, start using it in the group that you joined, in the comment section, even in this video, underneath this video in the comment section. Try as much as possible to comment every single video to practice. All right. Now, the other solution is what you can do. You can role play scenes. Now, role playing will help you get more comfortable and also understand the importance of body language when you speak in English. You can also shadow videos you see online. Now, you guys know that when I speak to you, when I teach you, I always use my hands. I use a lot of body language when I speak. So when you're role playing, it's very important to think about your body language. But let's say, for example, you want to role play or act out a scene or a situation where someone is meeting their boyfriend or girlfriend for the first time. Well, not the first time. Let's say it's the first date, right? They already know each other, but it's the first official date. Well, role play that scene. How do you think you'd feel in that situation? Try to say it in English. Wow, you really look great today. Thank you so much. Would you like to sit right here? Start acting it out. And again, this will create triggers in your mind, connecting the emotions with the words that you're using. And I guarantee it will make your English language journey a lot more interesting. All right. So again, role play. This will help you practice even when you're on your own. Okay. All right. Now here's the next reason. Reason number 4. You are tired and burnt out. In other words, you feel overwhelmed and tired. Now, I had a conversation with one of my students this past week, and he was telling me that he's just busy. He's a lot of things going on at work, and he's kind of tired and not really feeling like studying English. And I understood what he was saying because, after a while, you get a little bit bored, which we talked about earlier. But if you're so busy at work, you really are too tired to study English. But don't worry. Like I said, I have a solution for this problem. Here's the solution, and it may shock you. Take a scheduled break every 2 weeks. That's right. I want you to not study English once every 2 weeks. Now, let me explain why. Your body needs physical rest, but your mind also needs mental rest. So, schedule a mental break every 2 weeks. Study hard for 2 weeks, and then select a full day or two to simply do nothing at all related to English. You see, what's going to happen is you're going to start to miss English, but your brain is also going to start to relax a little bit and start reviewing what you learned over the previous 2 weeks. I guarantee that taking this break is going to make you more excited when you start back again. Now, don't take too long of a break. Some students say, well, I take about 2 weeks. Don't take a 2-week break. Take 1 day or 2 days and then jump right back in. But again, it is important to take a break and give your mind a mental rest. But remember to come back immediately after that rest. All right? Now, here's the 5th reason why you feel stuck. You keep comparing yourself to others. Basically, you feel like other people are better than you. Now, I'll be very honest with you. I did this as well when I was studying Korean, because in my class, there were some amazing students. I mean, they could speak Korean. It was another level. And I was always impressed by the way they spoke in Korean. And I also would start comparing myself like, I'm studying so hard, but why can't I speak like them? Why don't I sound like them? And slowly I started to be very discouraged, and I started thinking about them instead of my own journey. This is why I want to tell you to stop doing that. Don't do that, because it actually can break you down and really discourage you. So here are the solutions that work. All right. So instead of comparing yourself, you need to stop looking at other people. You have to stop worrying about other people and their English skills. Focusing on other people only brings stress and discouragement. Instead, analyze yourself. You should take time to analyze your personal progress and see where you need to improve. Then periodically go back and see how you have improved. So basically, instead of focusing on Tom, Dick, Harry, and Sally, you now will focus on yourself. You will see, hey, what are you good at? What do you need to improve? What do you need to work on? And then work on those things. And you will feel more confident because, again, you have a goal and you know what you're improving and also how to continue improving. So listen, I really hope this encouraged you. I hope it helped you see that even though you feel stuck, there is a way out. There is a way for you to take your English to the next level. All right. Now, remember, if you want to watch part 2 of this lesson, all you have to do is click the link in the description. All my Academy students can watch part 2. I really enjoyed preparing this lesson just for you, and I will talk to you next week. But as always, remember to speak English. You know what time it is. It's story time, story time, story time. Hey, story time. All right. Okay, guys. So today's story it's kind of serious, but it was a really big lesson that I learned in my life, and it's kind of connected to feeling stuck. So when I graduated from university, I majored in computer science and also commercial art. So I was a web developer at NASA, like I told you all before. But during that time, I also started my own business, and I was developing websites for companies, after work when I'd go home. So I had a side job. Now, one time, a gentleman contacted me and he wanted me to actually create a website for him, for his business. So we had an official meeting. I gave him the proposal. I told him how much it would be, and everything seemed fine. I told him, okay, it's going to be $3,000 and you need to pay half up front and then half upon completion. Everything was perfect. He was a really nice gentleman, shook hands, gave me the money immediately, the first payment, and I started working. Now, I was running my own business and I had a contractor, so who was actually my coworker at my actual job, and then we would work together on the side. And he and I are still very close. Actually, his wife is Korean and they are really close to me. I'm still close to them now, and they were one of the reasons I also wanted to go to Korea. So anyways, he and I were working together and he had the job of working on the database. So the database aspect of the website. And everything was going smoothly. And we got to the end of the project. The website was running perfectly. And it was time for me to go back to the client and say, hey, everything is done. Can I have your final payment after you've checked everything? And I was going to also pay my contractor. So I called the gentleman and there was no answer. Now that was okay because, all right, one time, it's not a problem. I called him every day, almost for a full 2 weeks. Then I sent him an email and I never got a response. Now, remember I said I had a contractor working for me and I owed him $1,000 because of the work that he did. And I hadn't paid him yet. So I was getting a little bit worried because the client wasn't responding to my messages or my calls, and I still had to pay this contractor. Now, remember, I was very young. I think I was about 23 or 24, and I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. I was concerned because I was thinking about my contractor. That was my responsibility to pay my contractor, but my client wasn't paying me. So I called my parents and I said, this is the situation. What do I do? Do I take the person to collections? Collections refers to if someone doesn't pay you, you can actually go the official route and get collections to get the money for you from the person. And if the person doesn't pay, there are legal ramifications. They could possibly, have to pay a huge fine to the state. So I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to sue him. I just wanted him to pay me for the work that was done. But again, I said I felt stuck. But when I felt stuck, I went to my parents for advice. And they said, you know what, Tiff? My nickname. You guys can call me Tiff if you like. Your responsibility is for your contractor. Even though your client hasn't paid you, he's your responsibility. And after that conversation, I realized that I had to take out a loan in order to pay my contractor. And when I told him I was going to pay him, he was worried about me. He said, Tiff, no, $1,000 is a lot of money for you to take out as a loan just because your client's not paying. He said, I'll wait. I said, no, you are my responsibility. I'm going to pay you. And then whatever happens with this client, I'll just have to face the consequences. So I paid my contractor, and when I called the client back and I said, hey, you're not responding to me, but I had to send this issue to the collections agency, he suddenly responded. He said, why are you doing this to me? And he was very rude. So I was a little bit shocked. Remember, I was young and he was a lot older than me. And I was a little shocked because I thought that he was more professional. Long story short, he never paid me, ever. And I just lost that money. And I had to pay that $1,000 loan off because my client didn't pay me. But I learned a valuable lesson. Always pay your people first. So moving forward, whenever I had a job or I had a client, I always paid my contractors first. And I also learned that when I get stuck in a situation, I need words of wisdom. And my parents gave me those words of wisdom in that moment. So today we talked about being stuck in your English journey. And I was hoping that my words were words of wisdom for you. Don't worry. I know sometimes it gets difficult and you feel like you can't get above a certain level. Watch this video again. Follow the ideas and the plans that I gave you and the solutions and use them as words of wisdom. I hope you enjoyed today's story time, and I'll see you next week.